Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. I am so looking forward to this. I'm so looking forward to just chatting with you guys. Curious Jen will be here today and chatting with her too. But let me say hello to you guys first, and then we'll talk about what we're going to do. So, hello, Tony. Hey, Nadine. Hey, Cecilia. Hey, Desiree. Hey, Amy. Hey, Hope. Welcome. We are also embarrassingly obsessed with it too. Hey, Jenna. I have a point to make about that as well in a second. Hey, Corey. Hello, Adrian, Eddie, Brandywine and True Crime, Mrs. M, Foxy. Hey, JoJo, Alyssa, MK. Jenna, hello, Sexy Wild Thing Claus, Spicy Sugar, Connie, hey, P Crumbs, Legendary CEO, Dumplings Granny. Thank you guys for being here. Hey, Leonard. There's Bendy. Bendy couldn't join us tonight, but she's going to be in the chat. And definitely please check out both of the Jen's channel, hers and Curious Jen as well. The mods have been dropping them, but I'll drop them as well. So, we're going to start going through some of the pages in the case file. It's really interesting to see the investigation, come together, and the little things that we didn't hear about in trial regarding many different things. So we've got several pages tonight. We also have something very interesting regarding that Curious Jen is going to share with you guys regarding some of the recent calls that has been released. This is something kind of a new... something new that has to do with those calls with Aunt Brenda and Tisha Lynn. Also, I just want to say thank you guys. We crowdsourced. I didn't even ask. You guys are just so wonderful. I had came on, for those of you who missed it, I was talking one day and I was like, we want to get the case file, but it's pretty expensive. And I started getting alerts, people wanting to throw in. And, we only had to pay like the last $100 out of $300. So that was really awesome. And I appreciate you guys for that so much. So I want to make sure that you guys get to see and talk about and read everything as well. Another thing, I just talked to the two Jens about this right before. I think that the entire file is going to be available on the website tonight, on Crime Curious's website. So if you want to read through the case file yourself, we're going to put the whole file out there. It's 1,050 pages, and it should be available tonight. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and bring Curious Jen up. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I've been bike riding and all kinds of things. What have you been up to?
Oh, taxi service, delivering groceries, delivering kids to work, the business.
Yeah, that sounds very much like my life. Driving here, driving there, football practice, school. Hey,
I so desperately wanted to come on and say, hey, baby. I don't have my Brenda impression down very well yet.
Tisha Lynn. Oh, I am excited for you to come on. I'm excited to talk about all of this. I wanted to say something though. So I had seen a friend, I'll just be straight up. So a friend of mine, he has a channel called The Glare. I watched one of his live like from yesterday, and I was watching the replay. I wasn't there when it happened. And he was mentioning, people that are still covering these cases. And he's like, he said, even one of my friends is still talking about it. I assumed that he was talking about me. And he said, he doesn't want to give Letecia the attention that she wants, that she obviously wants. And he was almost saying like, the parents deserve time to let it go. And I agree with that. And I don't ever want to be disrespectful to the parents, but also I really, really do enjoy the very deep dives, like into the Watts case, where you can go through all the details, the entire case file. And, you guys helped pay for it. I think that we owe it to each other to go through the stuff together and have the conversations. And it's just for a specific audience who's also very interested in knowing like all the details, every little detail of the case. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to kind of say that I can understand like that kind of thought process, but also there's a lot that was never even put out at trial, there, and getting to see the behind the scenes. I think it's just you have some people that want to follow these cases some surface level, some a little deeper, and then you have like the deep dives, and this is a deep dive. So it's just for the people who are interested in that. But yeah.
Yeah, well, and I mean, the truth is, there are still a ton of people who are interested in this case, and Al doesn't watch social media anyhow, and yeah, I don't know, and I didn't hear him say it, and I don't want to accuse him of like virtue signaling or anything like that, but
No,
there's still a ton of things that can be learned by discussing this case. Now, barreling into the private lives of Gannon's parents
no.
or, siblings or anything else, no, not so much. But there's still a ton that can be learned.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And almost to a preventative level, I will say, as far as you said, Al doesn't watch social media. I haven't talked to Landon for a while, probably a year or so, because the last I talked to her, I think, was around the preliminary hearing, or pretrial hearing, when there was no cameras allowed, but there was a lot of live tweets and stuff. And I did a show at that time, and I feel like I spoke to her around that time. But right before that, she had told me, she's like, when this is over, I want his story. I want to talk. I want to tell his story everywhere. Like, I want to talk to everybody. I don't want to jeopardize the case. But once I know that she's locked up, then I want his story to be told. Like, she talked about writing a book, and things like
Right.
that. So, yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to say that because I think it's just a different perspective and a different, maybe like I said, some people are truly interested in those deep dives. I need to know everything. I really feel like I need to, want to rather, but
Right.
Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up. Hey, you guys coming in that I missed: Steffa, Punksy, Sheena, Pink Diamond, Maria, all you guys. Thank you for being here. Yes, the case file is for the people, and the people should be able to read it. Absolutely.
Yes, and I heard you while I was backstage. I was working on the screenshot. I just sent you the screenshot
Awesome.
in Messenger,
Okay.
but I have uploaded the entire 1,050-page case file, and I'll go ahead and drop the link in chat. But it's crimecurious.com/Stauch.
Awesome.
And I put in a request for all of the pretext phone calls, and I'll have an answer back in the next 2 business days, she said. There's an issue because there were several problems with them downloading those calls, and so it really botched up like the item numbers.
Oh, okay.
And that's different than the exhibit numbers, from trial. We're not looking for the exhibits used in trial because those were only bits and pieces of, there were 12 hours of pretext phone calls, and we only heard, kind of snippets, just like with the interview with Dorothy Lewis. And hell, even with that, we heard it, but we couldn't understand most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I cannot wait to hear those. I think that, plus hearing through the trial, like, you just don't get to hear it that well, like through the cameras from the trial. I feel like it'll just be better to get to hear them in full, and thank you, Struggle is Real, by the way, for being a member 4 months. So do you want to start with going through some of these files, or do you want to start with the screenshot?
Let's start with the screenshot. So the reason I sent you the screenshot is because you and I had talked recently about, the phone calls, the channel phone calls from prison and the post-conviction calls that they put out. And during one of those calls, Aunt Brenda had said that she reached out to Senator Danny Britt, and he was going to write a letter so that Letecia and Brenda could have extended extended time for a visit, above and beyond what's normally allowed, because she's going all that way to visit Tisha Lynn. And so she's going to bring a letter from a senator for the warden that's going to allow them to have extended time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so phone calls from prison actually reached out to Senator Danny Britt's office, and they were like, no, that didn't happen. And she made a community post actually, saying her experience of calling Danny Britt's office, and they did admit to knowing who Brenda was, but he did no such thing. So, it appears as if Brenda was fibbing about that. So what's on the screen right now is an email that I wrote last week to Josh Tellini, which you guys remember as Letecia's lead defense attorney. And I just had, these two questions. So the first one says, it seemed as if you were unaware at trial that Letecia's DNA was not actually found on the gun that killed Gannon. It was a mistake that was quietly corrected by Dave Young back in September of 2021 after it was presented as evidence during the preliminary hearing. But when discussing the reasons that you wanted the juror who inadvertently knew the gun expert replaced, you said that she would be testifying about Letecia's DNA being found on the gun. I did notice that they didn't bring the gun DNA up during trial. My question is this: if you had known about the false testimony at the preliminary hearing, would there have been any recourse for the defense back then? And number two was, all of the phone calls that Letecia made while incarcerated in Colorado are beginning to circulate. In one of the post-conviction calls, Aunt Brenda tells her that you said Letecia's family was not allowed to attend the trial. Letecia then said that she was going to file a complaint against your license with the bar. My question is this: has she filed any sort of complaint or civil action against either you or Mr. Cook? And then if you go back up, he responded last night.
Okay. I'm about to scroll up. Thank you so much, Brandywine and True Crime. She said, thank you, ladies, for making this possible. We love you, Gannon. Thank you, Brandywine and True Crime. I appreciate that so much. Okay, so let me scroll up on this. I just did that so that it wouldn't get, we wouldn't read that first. Okay. This is so interesting. So Mr. Tellini wrote her back.
Yeah, and he just said, I was aware her DNA was not on the gun that killed Gannon. I wanted that juror off for appellate reasons. Letecia's family was welcome to attend the trial. They just chose not to. She has not filed a complaint against me or Mr. Cook.
So Aunt Brenda was not being honest, as far as at least what Mr. Tellini says, that Aunt Brenda was welcome to attend the trial, of course, like we thought that she would be. And also, there has been no complaint filed, which is interesting because the very first thing Letecia said when Aunt Brenda said, well, the lawyers told me I couldn't. Well, I'm going to file a complaint with them with the bar.
Right. And it was no big deal because they weren't going to be her attorneys anymore. Because just in regular Letecia style, I almost said fashion. In regular Letecia fashion, that's hard to say.
Yeah.
She was done with them. They weren't going to be her attorneys anymore. So now it's okay to just throw them right under the bus. She uses people, chews them up, spits them out. And so we kind of knew, anybody who's been following the case long enough to have her MO down pat, it really did seem like as soon as Letecia started freaking out saying she was going to file a complaint, Brenda really tried to walk it back.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Now don't start a fuss. Don't make a big deal out of it. And I'm like, I don't think Aunt Brenda's being honest. So I just asked. It's like with phone calls from prison. Phone calls from prison was like, wait a minute, Senator who? Easy enough. Reach out and touch somebody, Ask them.
Let me see if there it is. Look, I was just contacted back by North Carolina State Senator Danny Britt's legislative office assistant. She says that no one has reached out to their office about sending a letter to the Colorado Department of Corrections on behalf of Letecia. She stated they would never do that. She also said they have been contacted by Aunt Brenda in the past several years, but it was about a homeowner recovery program, better known as Rebuild North Carolina. Sounds like Aunt Brenda might not be telling Letecia all the facts. Wow.
Right.
That is just so interesting. I wonder if they ever thought that these would be released to like the general public. Certainly not, right? Because when you listen to, I don't know, you wouldn't think so by some of the things that they've said. And you guys know, I reached out to Aunt Brenda and asked, these calls are being released. I was just curious if you had a comment. I forget exactly what I said. I was really nice, though. I could show you guys if you were truly that interested in what exactly I said to her, because I really tried to be super nice. And she just right back. She said, I sent you what I told her.
Yeah.
She said, no comments.
No comments.
No.
Right. Well, and it's just so I believe they knew, at least for the pre-trial phone calls, they knew that those calls were being listened to by both the defense and the prosecution, but I don't believe that they knew they would ever be released to the public. They
Right.
knew for sure that the prosecution and the defense were listening. And then as far as the post-conviction, I don't think they thought anybody would get those because, trial's over, so why would either side be listening?
Right. They would think, what's the point? That is just so interesting, though. But so, do you know that that's actually factual that in Kansas they don't do that? Because I know I've heard that, but I haven't like double checked it myself.
It's my understanding that they don't. So I spent some time researching. So Colorado has Cora and Kansas has Cora. The difference being C for Colorado and K for Kansas.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think we're going to get them based on my research of Cora. But it was just really like a surface level dig into what Kansas says. That's something else that I wanted to talk to you about. So Colorado has confirmed that Letecia was transferred from Colorado to Kansas through an interstate compact order. And we're all assuming that Letecia has been sent to Topeka Correctional Facility because that's the only prison for women in the state of Kansas.
Right.
However, I was re-listening to phone calls from prison with that last batch of calls. The very first thing that she's talking to Aunt Brenda about is how, they couldn't transfer her to San Carlos. Remember, that's the one that they requested at the end of trial during sentencing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
She
remember them
wanted,
requesting one.
yeah, she wanted to be sent to San Carlos, which San Carlos is down in Pueblo, Colorado, and it's on the campus of the Colorado State Mental Institute at Pueblo.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a prison that's on the grounds of the state mental hospital.
Right.
But they don't allow women. It's men only. So that's why that's apparently why she wasn't able to be sent there. And I had a hard time with it because Letecia was sentenced to prison. She was not sentenced to a mental institution like she wanted. I mean, that was the whole, if she was found not guilty by reason of insanity, then she would go to a mental institution, having
Right.
been acquitted of the crime, by reason of insanity. But she
But
was
why would
found
they
guilty and sentenced to prison.
just before you go further, why would they request an all men's prison? That's weird. I'm surprised by that. I didn't
Well,
know.
I guess the reason they requested it is because it's there on the grounds of the mental institution. She's still pushing. She doesn't care that she's been found guilty and sentenced to prison. She's still going to try and push to get the mental institution, which is what she was talking about in that phone call. I don't know if you can hear it. Somebody's blowing up my phone. Um, about 2 more calls and I'm going to answer it. I'll try to mute. Anyway.
Oh, that's okay.
Come on. It's the same person calling over and over. I love it. Anyway, so she's still pushing for that mental institution because even though she was found guilty and sentenced to prison, she was in fact diagnosed by Dorothy Lewis to have dissociative identity disorder. Even though none of us buy it,
Right.
Dorothy Lewis did actually give that diagnosis. And those first, the calls that were just recently released, she starts out by talking about, how she was trying to get into San Carlos, but she couldn't. And so, she was trying to get them to transfer her downstate, and she has to keep documenting things because there's no way they're going to transfer her if she doesn't keep documenting. And she wants to be sent out of state. And the reason she wanted to be sent out of state is not only because she has a high profile case, which she seems to be proud of, by the way. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, this other girl has a high profile case too, but mine's more high profile than hers. Congratulations.
She also sounded like almost interested or excited when she's like talking about the girl. They're trying to put more bodies on her case. They're saying she's a serious something about she. I guess kill people that hurt children. That person, like she
Yeah.
got weirdly excited over that as well. It was strange.
Yeah, listen, Letecia thrives on competition. She is incredibly competitive, and she doesn't know when to quit. So even when she's won a competition, she keeps going. Nothing's ever good enough for her.
Yeah.
And she does that in everything. She does that in friendships, in romantic relationships, in workplace situations, in court battles, in what I mean, it's just I have so many examples of how she plays the game, and she's always playing. And she's always trying to catch somebody else slipping because she knows the rules and she knows how to play the game, and she only learns the rules to find out where she can break them.
Yep, absolutely. She's all about the mental gymnastics, and it's so hard to deal with people like that just wear you out mentally, just conversating with them, and especially if you have a person like that in your close family or something. Oh my God, ugh.
Yeah, so I had also sent you a screenshot of a document that I found. I think it's like the 2023 Kansas prison statistics and who's housed where. And, I'm just trying to do all this research to find out if there's any other correctional facility that she might be sent to that does house women, but is not a quote unquote women's prison. And there is one. It's called Larned. Now it's spelled Larned, but people in Kansas call it Larned. It's kind of like Salina, Kansas, and Salinas, California. It's just, in Kansas, it's called Larned. But anyway, in June of 2023, there were 4 female inmates at Larned. Now, it used to be the state mental hospital, but now it's called Larned State Correctional Facility.
Okay.
And if Letecia was sent there, she would be female prisoner number 5.
Wow.
She would be one of 5 women that are housed there, and it's only for people with mental health issues. But if you look at it, that's also where they send all of the violent predators for SA. It's the best way I can say it. If I was
Wow.
on my channel, I'd just say it, but I just I want to be respectful of your channel. But if you and I mean, it's way back in our messenger. I think I sent it last week sometime.
Oh,
With
okay.
that list that shows that there were 4 women housed there. That's the only other place in Kansas she could be. And I have a problem with that. If they sent her to Larned because it's a mental health facility, even though it's a correctional mental health facility,
Right.
she was sentenced to prison. She belongs in prison.
Yeah,
That's
she
my
agree.
opinion, but
I 1,000% agree, and I know many people in the comments do too, because I've already seen comments coming through. She's too comfortable. They feel like she's already too comfortable. So yeah, I completely agree. So Kate's question: do you know if Aunt Branda was to show up, would we get? You could, well, in Colorado. Now I don't know about in Kansas, but let's just say if she had still been in Colorado or had any visits there, would those also be released, like the video calls, the phone calls, those kind of things? They
I
would,
don't
right?
think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think they record in-person visits. Well, I mean, I'm sure they're on camera, but I doubt it.
Hey, lunch lady. Okay, so let's start looking at some of these. Oh, thank you for being a member 3 months, and struggle is real. I think I don't want to forget. I'm sure I said it. I think I remember saying it, but just in case, thank you so much for being a member for 4 months. And then yeah, let's go ahead and look at some of these. So did Gemini, has an interesting theory. Which, don't you have a video with all the Google search? A bedtime is. Do you have a bedtime Google searches?
No, I don't. I mean, I've got one ready to go. I just need to read it and record it. And the Gemini JC is convinced and has been for a while that Harley saw Letecia shoot Gannon. And she's convinced, or he or she is convinced that because of Leticia's Google search where she was, talking about shock from watching somebody get shot.
Right.
And then the first thing that Letecia says to Harley in their very first phone call is asking her if she's still in shock. And I do understand the connection, but my personal opinion, that's a stretch.
Right.
I think that's a giant leap.
I think it is too, but it's also a very interesting thought, like with the Google search. And then I did not know that was her first thing that she said to her, because I haven't watched all of those
Yeah,
calls.
and I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, Gemini, not at all. But that's kind of what we do. We don't all have to agree. It's the discourse. It's the talking about it. That's the good part.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So I hope that didn't come across as me like,
No, I think you
shitting
just have a different line of thought, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay, so I just started I was around 200 pages in, and I just went through and I screenshot and grabbed ones I thought that we could have some talk about, that people could see. And I don't actually know why I cropped that like that, but I was going to ask you, do you know what that January 7th payment is, that $3,300 payment? Just curious. Oh, I know I cropped it for this bottom down here, but because I was going to start here. But do you know that, or?
No, I don't. They don't have a house payment, and that's twice as much as their rent was.
That's a large payment, right? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's a really large payment.
So it starts with a follow up from Letecia's text to the academy school. So and I should have not cropped this so we saw the top of it, but regardless. It says the school district emailed a PDF showing text messages someone received from Letecia Stauch Monday the 27th at 3 a.m. Let me go to the next one. Okay, so here are some of the texts they put in there. The text from Leslie Hicks, assistant principal of Mountain Ridge Middle School. The text messages had the following context. At 3 o'clock, Tisha says, "I'm sorry for the time of night message, but my stepfather passed away. Someone hit him with a car while he was walking. I can update you at a later time. Sad face." Then, an hour and 37 minutes later, she says, "I'm sorry for the time of night message, but my stepfather," oh, again, the same message. She just resends it. Leslie messages back probably when she wakes up at 5:49 a.m. "Oh my goodness, Tisha, I'm so sorry. Shall we try to find a sub for you today?" And they did go over some of these in trial, but Tisha says, "It's apparent. All my family lives on the East Coast." It's apparent. I mean, what? "All my family lives on the East Coast. I am trying to find a way to get there." Leslie, "Okay, I am just trying to understand your plans." She's just trying to straight up ask her. I remember being frustrated with this during trial. She's like, "I'm just trying to understand your plans. Am I understanding you will not be here?" "Yes, it's my parents. I can't believe that would not be an assumption in a time like this." And then Leslie says, "I'm so sorry for your loss. We will support you, but I cannot make assumptions. I do need some direction from you. We will get a sub today. Please let us know what else you need moving forward." Oh my gosh, so bad. Like, oh.
Yeah, and you know what this makes me think about? I sent you like the timestamps from those phone calls. So after the probable cause affidavit was leaked, it talked in there about the message that was sent, that she said that her stepfather had been hit by a car and killed over the weekend. But that's all it said. So Letecia, at the point of those phone calls that I sent, at that point, everyone in the world, that was paying attention, knew that she had lied to her employer and said that her stepfather had been hit and killed by a car. And so in those jail calls, she starts she talks to 3 different people. She talks to Aunt Brenda, she talks to Tila Cummings, and she talks to Aunt Katrina. And in all 3 of those phone calls, she starts close, and then the next call, she tells the next person, it's how she lies. We've seen her do it a ton of times. She tries to tell them that Angel was over that night, Sunday night, helping her pack, and Angel's mom's boyfriend or whatever it was, it depended on who she was talking to, that Angel had her phone and Angel was sending that message to her boss.
Oh my God.
And she
Oh
did,
my God.
and then
I wish it
apparently,
was
like, the woman who hit the guy was in the jail with her at the time. I know this sounds ridiculous, but so, but Letecia had not yet seen the discovery, and so she didn't know how far it went. But she was just explaining to Aunt Katrina, Aunt Brenda, and Tila that, oh, somebody else had my phone. And of course she blamed it on Angel, which is the one that she told Grusing, her and or that, Albert wanted to have a threesome with or whatever through the app.
Oh my God.
And so now reading these text messages to her employer, it's like, oh yeah, did Angel write all that?
Yeah. And she's like, it's apparent. I just can't get over how quick she is to snap at this lady. When did you send that? Today? Or like
No,
already?
ma'am. It was last week. It was the timestamps. I had 3 different timestamps and then, one for each of the recipients of the call.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go back and find it later. I was gonna grab it, but it's okay. I'll
Yeah.
find it later. But that is so interesting. Okay,
Well,
so
that was actually from the jail calls though. So,
okay. Okay, so this the officer called the teachers. So Leslie Hicks is the woman that she had called into. And then, so the officer says, I then called Leslie Hicks. She advised me she received the text messages on her work phone at 3 a.m. and again at 4:37. The text came from Letecia's phone. The only prior contact with Letecia was both via text at the same phone number or via email with her email and then at Taylor Stauch. The prior conversations were with regard to getting more references and requesting her credentials. There were no texts after Miss Hicks' final message ending, please let us know what else you need moving forward. Miss Hicks said Letecia was interviewed on January 10th for a teacher position. She was asked to provide references. Some of the references she provided were suspicious. Interesting. So she provided the following. And they did talk about this a little bit in court as well.
One of the things that I found interesting from when I was in court, so they specifically only talked about Connie Huddle, because that's, when Leslie Hicks called Connie Huddle, it came up on the caller ID as Albert Stauch, which that was actually Gannon's phone that she was calling, which was in Albert's name, right?
Right.
And they continued, down that path, down that line of questioning with Miss Hicks on the stand. And at one point, as he's getting ready to wrap up, he kind of leans over and says, is there anything else? Now, you guys couldn't see it on the WebEx, but I was right there in the courtroom, and I could actually hear Dave Young say, well, she also called Harley's phone, and they were like, don't worry about it. And so they didn't ask Miss Hicks about, the next number that was also given. So, she got, so she gave out these false numbers, but she also gave her Harley's number as a reference for somebody else. I can't remember.
Oh my God.
It might have been Connie Huddle.
Oh my God. She is just, and she just infuriates me. But did she not have any actual references? You know what I mean?
Well, how did she still get the job? I mean, yeah, it was fishy. It was obviously fishy.
I know. So she says, and this was talked about in court, but I'll read it to you guys if you missed it or didn't see. She says about the Connie Huddle, who Jen's talking about. A retired school principal is the title, I guess, that Letecia put, or the title that they're putting of Connie. So this phone number actually belongs to Gannon. Miss Hicks said this phone number went to a computerized voicemail message. No one responded. Miss Hicks asked for another reference, but Letecia provided another number. Well, I guess it could be Gannon or Harley now that you say that, supposedly for Connie. When Miss Hicks called this number, she said a female responded and she could hear children in the background. She said the caller ID Then popped up Al Stauch. At this point, Miss Hicks asked if she was talking to Letecia, but she pretended she was Connie and said she needed to go and hung up. The phone number is, and then they put it in here.
Right.
Oh my God. I don't know how she continues to blow my mind, but she does.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Sylvia Libby, an administrator in international services. Then we have Elisa Diaz, a teacher at Myrtle Beach High School. Miss Hicks mentioned that Letecia told her she would be leaving Thursday, January 16th on a cruise. Miss Hicks, hold on one second. Miss Hicks said she called. My mom's yelling at Trenton upstairs to get in the shower for the last time. Sorry about that. So Miss Hicks mentioned that Letecia told her she would be leaving Thursday, January 16th on a cruise. Miss Hicks said she called Letecia on Wednesday, January 15th to request some credentials, and Letecia told her she left early and was on a cruise in Cabo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait till you get to the point where we're talking about the emails that Letecia sent to Leslie while she was on the cruise. You know, Dr. Stauch.
Okay, so let me keep, it's right here. Let me see. I called the principal of Grand Mountain School. This is the follow-up with the school where Gannon was a student of the 5th grade to follow up on the excused absence annotated on blank. School attendance record for Monday, January 27th. The record showed excused sick per dad. The principal was identified as Brian Pohl. He said the person who takes attendance is April Baker. He asked her if she could provide any information on how Gannon was called in sick. She said she believed it was a phone call or message because she did not have an email. The note indicated he was excused as sick per dad, was logged on Monday, January 27th. Miss Tafoya Baker said she remembered logging this information because she saw blank and realized she saw Lena, I guess, and realized Gannon was not in school and she needed to make that note. Mr. Pohl confirmed the number that would have been called to report Gannon sick would be blank. Detective Bethel informed me blank told her he did not, so Al told her he did not call the school to excuse his son Monday. Mr. Pohl also advised the teacher at the school, Caitlin Collar, was also advised that Caitlin had an email conversation with Gannon's father Monday night. He provided me a copy of the email string. At 4:15 on January 27th, Miss Collar emailed Letecia with a test review attachment. Or, wait a second, emailed Al with an email attachment because the redactions are confusing me. So I guess
Yeah.
supposedly Al that responds, okay? Caitlin, I'm so sorry to bother you, but I'm in Oklahoma for Army training and Gannon is missing. I don't know where else to go for info. He had mentioned a friend named Blank that he wanted to play with is all the info I have. They ride the same bus, so he lives close. He has never done anything like this, so I'm terrified of what is going on. My wife is home trying to find him. I don't want to alarm you, but I don't know where else to turn. My wife's number is blank if you know how we can maybe find out where this kid lives. Sent from my iPhone. Miss Caller responds, and stop me at any point, but I'll just read through till we get through this. Okay. Miss Caller responds, "Hi, I'm so sorry to hear this. I have not heard any information, but we'll contact you ASAP if I do. Are you aware that he was absent from school today as well? Did your wife see him this morning?" And then Al responds, "Yes, he has stomach problems. He had some issues with that today. They still can't find him." 15 minutes later or so, she responds, "Okay, so this happened this evening. I am working with admin, but as of now, I have been told I cannot disclose blank information. They are working together right now to see what." Hold on. Oh my gosh, did I get him out of order? Hold on one second. Let me just pull it up from your website and I'm going to scroll to that page because I think I got it out of order. So, hold on. Sorry. Thank you guys for being here, though, by the way. And crimecurious.com. Definitely, if you want to read these documents for yourself on your own time, I'll drop the link again in the chat to
I'll do it.
Jen's website. And there's a lot more on there, too. I mean, there is so much. There's stuff about her lawsuit. Well, here, I'm about to show you. So, is it at the bottom of the list? Let me see. Stauch case report. This is her website, though. So she has all these different things that you can download. She transcribed the pretext calls that we heard in court. She has this Letecia's sexual harassment lawsuit, the life insurance policy, defense witnesses. I mean, the probable cause affidavit, everything. Okay, so let's do it this way. So sorry about that, you guys. And then I got to go to 196. Here we go. So she says, we are able to speak with police. So this is, Miss Caller writing Al back. This happened this evening. I am working with admin, but as of now, I have been told I cannot disclose blank information. They are working together right now to see what they can do. We are able to speak with the police, and they can speak with one of our administrators. Are they involved yet? And then Al writes back, they found blank house and he's not there. And then the Miss Caller writes back, thank you for the update. I am so sorry to hear that. Please keep me updated this evening, and I am saying my prayers for you all. Then she writes again, have there been any updates? And then they respond, nothing is responded. Oh, sorry. I got all shook up reading that. So, let me see. Okay. I'm not going to read that. Was that Letecia? Do we know that that was Letecia?
Where?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Was that Letecia sending those emails, pretending to be Al?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't.
Thank you, Past. Keep up the great work, Alex. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. And Kate, thank you. Just wanted to let Alex know she rocks. Thank you. You guys are the best. I appreciate you so much. I really do. I got a little shook up there for a moment.
Yeah.
So you don't think that was Al? Those are not the emails you were talking about. Let me see. Miss Pohl also indicated that a David McGee reported to him that Letecia and her daughter were going door to door the night before Gannon went missing. Asking if anyone had seen him. EPSO, I read through this earlier, but I was going so fast, I don't think I noticed this, or I skipped a page or something. So, okay. Letecia and her daughter were going door to door the night before Gannon went missing, asking if anyone had seen him. The detective David Glenn said he had already spoken to Mr. McGee about this and would follow up. Mr. Pohl also advised on Tuesday, January 28th, Letecia told him Gannon had been seen on Academy Boulevard with some other boys. I confirmed with Detective Glenn that this had been one of the tips someone provided to law enforcement independent of Letecia. So when that happened, when people did, and I grabbed like a few different tips that did come in, I wanted to show you guys some of the things that were coming in. Of course, she's going to take that and use it to her advantage. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And who knows how that mistake was made. I mean, I'm sure that Letecia and Harley weren't going door to door looking for him on Sunday night. And I know that they only went to one house and sent Lena to the door. And then Harley went with, Connor and Connor's mom. So, who knows, if it was told to them that way, if they wrote it down wrong, if the person relaying the information just got it wrong.
Right.
But there are a ton of things like that happen in cases like this.
Yeah.
People express, what they heard, and it might not be entirely accurate, not on purpose, obviously, but
that's going to happen, but it worries me, like with other cases, like for instance, Idaho. People
Right.
take those little things and Letecia them, right? They're going to take it and use it to their advantage to prove their point or whatever.
Did you just make Letecia a verb?
Yes.
That's so frightening. That was incredibly frightening.
Watch out and don't get Letecia'd, you know?
Right.
Be careful.
So I was going to tell you the emails that I was talking about. She had sent emails to Leslie Hicks while she was on the cruise, and she signed all of those emails like Dr. Stauch sent to you from Ensenada, or Dr. Stauch, and she would say like where she was on her cruise and calling herself Dr. Stauch. I'll see if I can find them.
Yeah, I would like to see that. Hi, Frisky Jellyfish. I love your name. I was shocked to hear Demon told it. I was shocked to hear Demon told FBI agent Jonathan Grusing that she didn't do Gannon's laundry. That poor baby had to wash his own clothes.
Yeah.
I'm going to use Letecia as a verb in everyday conversation. I was talking about this the other day to my family, like the responsibility that Gannon had was so much compared to like what I would put on my kids, right? I would never expect them at 11 to be like watching him and Lena, and you know what I mean? Just things like that. I don't know. But I mean, people parent different. It is what it is. It's not a huge deal or anything, but he had a lot of responsibility on his little back for a little boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this I grabbed. This is Facebook accounts. And this is page 199, just so you guys that want to read through the case file have a reference. And please go check out that website. She has put in so much work, doing the deep dives into this case, getting every single detail, transcribing every one of those calls. Like, that is a ton of work. Trust me, because when I transcribed those 2 interviews, whew.
I actually didn't do most of the transcribing on those phone calls. A lot of the transcribing on the pretext calls was done by Sun Tzu, who is a friend of mine that is very active on Reddit. And,
awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I still have to send you the transcription of Landon's interviews.
I mean, not to say I haven't worked hard. I appreciate the compliment. But
you have.
Those phone calls were somebody else.
Well, I'm just saying you're constantly doing it daily, every single day. And I'm just, I love how hard you work. You can tell you're passionate.
I run into a lot of things like even if we just use the DNA on the gun, for example. So we read in the case report that, Letecia's DNA was not actually found on the gun that killed Gannon. And then we find out that the 380, which is the one that Letecia's DNA was actually found, is really Harley's gun that was given to her by Aunt Brenda and is still in Aunt Brenda's deceased husband Tommy's name. And so those 2 guns, Harley's gun and Albert's gun, were confused with each other by the district attorney's office and the sheriff's department. And then they corrected the mistake. But then I was rewatching part of the trial where Tellini wanted one of the jurors removed because she remembered as soon as she saw the expert witness, the expert, the one who testified about the gun. As soon as she saw her, the juror realized, oh, wait, I do actually know her. And so during that conversation, when Tellini wanted her off, he specifically said, and she's going to come in and testify and tell us that Letecia's DNA was found on that gun. But then I get an email, so I mean, I could write and we're only talking about 2 sentences in a 75,000 page book, right? But
Yeah,
those 2 sentences, every sentence is important.
it is.
But so you could tell that particular part of the story one way, but then I get this email back from Josh Tellini who says, no, I knew that Letecia's DNA wasn't found on the gun. Well, now what do I do? Because now none of it makes sense. And I mean, I believe Tellini, but at the same time, I just heard him say during trial, during the gun, during that expert testimony, that she was getting ready to tell us that Leticia's DNA was found on the gun. So was he setting them up? I don't know. I don't know. But
If
it's just like everything that you think is a fact, you have to go at it 3 different ways because this case is so confusing.
Well, you guys who missed the beginning, we shared, if you've been listening or following along with these phone calls, you heard Aunt Brenda tell Letecia that she was not allowed to go to the trial. And Letecia immediately responded with, I'm going to file a complaint against them for the bar, because she said the lawyers told her that. Aunt Brenda said the lawyers told her that. So Letecia was mad. Jen reached out to Talini, one of her attorneys, and asked about the gun and the DNA not being on the gun, and also the comment that the family wasn't allowed to go to trial, and about the civil action. Has Letecia filed any sort of complaint? And Talini wrote back, and he says, I was aware of her DNA was not on the gun that killed Gannon. I wanted that juror off for appellate reasons. Leticia's family was welcome to attend the trial. They just chose not to. She has not filed a complaint against me or Mr. Cook. So she's talking about the DNA on the gun, which I remember you when you found that out and putting that out there. That is very interesting. I think that she probably cleaned it. What do you think about that?
I just got sidetracked because Law Nerd Amber says I just downloaded your app from Google Play. Girl, yes. I don't have an app on Google Play, so
Oh no. Oh no, yeah. Don't do that, Law Nerd Amber. So what do you think about the DNA not being on the gun? Do you think that she just wiped it off and it's as simple as that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I really do. I think that she cleaned it up, just like everything else that she tried to clean up.
Yeah.
And so, another thing is that it was not found on the dresser like we were told. It was in the driver's side door of Albert's truck while he was at the sheriff's office doing an interview, and he told them it was there, and it just, where do you find the exact truth in that? And I'll just to be honest, there have been a few situations like that, at the end of the day, I guess it doesn't really matter, but you know how thorough I am.
Yeah. And
And
I know
sometimes
these
you just
little
have
things
to.
get you stuck. Like you're like, oh
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, because, I wanna be as accurate as is humanly possible.
So they're saying when you go to download the case files, which you guys, I'm going to drop the link again. Please, we're going through the case files that we all purchased. You guys helped, but it's going to take. There's a lot, so she shared the link on her website, so you guys can go through them yourself. Crimecurious.com/Stauch. Yeah, please go check it out because it's really great resource for this case.
Oh, okay, I understand. It's just off of the website is what okay. I was like, "Listen, if there's an app out there, I didn't do it." But it's just to download the files that I've got on my website. So
Yeah,
I
I saw that.
misunderstood.
The
Yeah.
second link I dropped, by the way, I forgot to put 2 slashes in the first one before just the second link, y'all. Click the second link. Okay, so.
Hi, guys.
All right, I'm going to read some of this to you guys. So it says Facebook account. So at approximately noon, I began drafting a warrant for multiple Facebook accounts and Facebook group accounts associated to this case. This is so interesting to me because this shows you they are watching all the groups, the channels. They are watching social media. They are. And I think that is it's interesting. So he says the groups have been utilized throughout this investigation by the community to provide false information regarding this investigation. They have also created issues in releasing information that had not yet been confirmed or released in this case. Ms. Stauch has also been utilizing her sister's and mother's Facebook accounts to discuss case details. They were identified as Miss Amy Lowry and Miss Deborah Locklear, sister and mother. Warrants for their accounts were also drafted. At 12:30, I contacted the judge by phone, sent the warrant, and he reviewed the search warrant for information regarding, and then they put that there, the accounts belonging to these people, and at 1:09, the judge signed it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The warrant was assigned number 2360. At approximately 2, I became aware the attachment B portion of the warrant had incorrect information on the dates released. So they contacted the judge again, had that fixed. And then we get into this. It's a different section. Mandan Drive address. So at 5:30 p.m., I was informed due to photographs located on Miss Stauch's cellular phone of Gannon sleeping in his bedroom from the day of his disappearance that an additional search warrant was needed for the Stauch family residence to collect his bed, bedding, pajamas, and other items possibly associated to his disappearance. I began drafting a warrant for 6627 Mandan Drive. At 6 p.m., I called the judge. They reviewed the warrant for this in black. That's details of the house, and the judge signed it. That photo of him laying in his bed, like, I think it's interesting to see the workings of them doing this, the way that these investigations work. But that photo is so, I don't know. I still wonder. I think this was like a proof of life photo. And it really is part of the reason that I think that I'm so stuck in this case, because we don't know what happened before, what condition exactly he was in. We know he walked afterwards, but we still don't really know. And the photo was just so odd. Even the way he was laying was odd. And I don't know if it's distorted or what. His hand looks swollen. It's just an eerie photo.
Yeah, I definitely think that, he had been drugged the night before. And remember, he slept down in the basement by himself in the cold. And if he had hydrocodone in his system, he was still zonked out from that. I don't know that to be fact. I want to be clear that I'm
Right.
just speculating, but
Well, what do you think happened because by this point, the carpet incident had already occurred, right? This fire
Mhm.
incident, the cover up, whatever happened in the carpet. So what happened that she was actually covering up? That is like one of the things that has me stuck.
I think that you're right. I think that it was a proof of life video. I think that she started planning his demise in the middle of the night on Sunday. After the candle thing didn't work out the way that she wanted it to. Um, I think that in the middle, remember she texted her employer at 3 a.m. and then again just after 4 a.m. And I think in the middle of the night is when her wheels really started turning. And I think that she knew she was going to kill him, and that's why she took the photograph. Um,
Yeah. Oh my God. That is,
remember Albert wasn't responding to her, even though there was a big dramatic event that she had orchestrated in
yeah.
order to get his attention, and that didn't work. And
Wow. That's just so sick to think about. So she's like, well, whatever. Okay, it didn't get his attention. And whatever happened go too far? Or was she like, okay, well, I'll make sure to get his damn attention. You know what I mean? But
right.
welcome, loving my vet off grid. Thank you so much for joining. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just, oh, she definitely knew by that time what she was going to do. We know
Yeah.
she was up all night and her wheels were spinning.
Yeah, for me, those photographs of Gannon early in the morning, around 8 a.m. or whatever it was, for me, that helped. When I first learned about those photographs, to me, that secured in my mind that this was, in fact, a premeditated event.
Right. Yeah. Because it's the only thing that makes sense with like you said, those photographs and everything. Even that video the night before was that accidental video. Come on,
Mhm.
like that was orchestrated as well. Um, she's so transparent at times, but then at other times it's just you never know with her. Patricia said Gannon was found on her birthday, and she feels connected to him. I completely know what you mean by like the feeling connected to these cases. Boo Sheet says, I still wonder why the long trip to Petco. The Petco trip really bothers me. It always has. Even back then, I remember like one of the people that worked there spoke out and said, she was looking out the window or whatever, like obsessively watching out the window. I don't know. I've always, that trip, it's just, I don't know. What was he out there losing his life, or drifting away as she's in there getting fucking dog coats? Excuse my language, but
Right. Well, and I think that the whole reason she went to Petco, because remember there were plenty of Petcos and PetSmarts as well, but it was all the way on the north end of town, and where they lived was, south of Colorado Springs. Still in the same, sort of metropolitan area, but it's actually south of Colorado Springs, and where she went to the Petco is up by UCCS, which is on the north end of town, and Palmer Lake is north of Colorado Springs. And remember that she left Gannon's cell phone at Petco,
yeah,
and in my opinion, that's why she went to Petco. And also remember that she's the one who told the police that she went to Petco. So she specifically wanted to be caught on the surveillance camera, that was part of her story to the police, is that, that she went to Petco, and she's the one who told police that she went to Petco. But she did leave Gannon's phone there, and she had left her phone at home, which again led me to the premeditation part.
yes, agree.
Um,
I thought that from the beginning when she like because that came out pretty quick that she forgot her phone, and I'm like,
right,
okay. Um, Thank
right.
you, MK. MK gifted memberships. Thank you so much. That was really sweet. I appreciate that. And hey, Silver Turtle Lady.
And then even though we don't have any proof that she was in the Palmer Lake area where the particle board was found, that day between Petco stops, she made several excuses for why she would have been seen there. Um, and that's when we get the story about, buying the bike for Al for Valentine's Day, and, going to look at the castle house, and,
Yep.
and all of that. And so, we have proof that the Tiguan went there on the 28th. We have proof that the Nissan Altima went there on the 31st, and she admits that she went there in Albert's truck, and that could have only been between Petco stops. Now,
Right.
why she would go there and come back with him, um, I mean, I was one of those people who was absolutely convinced that he was killed in Palmer Lake between Petco stops. But then they came back and they had this, they had
In the
the
house. Yeah.
the shadow and the foot getting out of the rear passenger
Yep.
side of the truck. So
And then the blood all on his, in his room, which and I'm with you. And I always thought I could never see the shadow until court. I was actually able to see it then. But I also believe that she did that while she was out and disposed of him and then came home. But is there another Petco that's like closer to the house that they could have
yes,
do? I thought so. I remember hearing
yeah,
that like back when this happened.
yeah. I think that she was purposely headed to Palmer Lake, and she stopped at that Petco on the north end of town so that she could ditch Gannon's phone, and then went to Palmer Lake, and then came back to the Petco, and got Gannon's phone. And that's and I said this, recently, that's one of the ways that we know for sure that she was the one using Gannon's phone to text Albert, because we have her on surveillance footage in the store when that text message was sent to Albert, where it says, "Can I play Zelda at least?" And Albert responds with, "Not today."
I always
Um,
thought that was her. I
yeah,
always, oh my God, though, that just makes
and
me
now we
sick.
know for sure that it was her, because we know that Gannon's phone was inside the store, we know that she was inside the store, and we know that Gannon was nowhere in sight.
Right. Oh my God, what an evil, evil hussy. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. This is Detective Christina Perry, and this what took place on February 1st. I always find it interesting to look at when these reports were written, just kind of to think about in my head like where the investigation was at that point. So it says Facebook preservation request. During the course of this investigation, there has been a large amount of community support, specifically on Facebook. At this time, there are 3 different Facebook groups referencing Gannon, I think. These groups are Find Gannon Stauch, Where is Gannon Stauch, and Gannon Stauch Search Party. I have joined each of these groups utilizing a Facebook account used solely for investigative purposes. I have looked at the posts in these groups on several occasions during the investigation. So the police, this detective is saying, I created an account specifically just for investigative purposes. I think that I just find that so interesting as we watch other cases to keep in mind, you know. But so she says, on this day, I observed a post on the Where is Gannon group that referenced Letecia Stauch. Date of birth, whatever, commenting in the Gannon Stauch search party group utilizing her mother's Facebook. I looked in the Gannon Stauch search party group but was unable to find any such post. I returned to the Where is Gannon Stauch page and reviewed the comments. Multiple people were commenting on the post asking what was posted as they could not find it either. One person shared a link that went directly to the original post. I reviewed the comments and it was unclear if it was Miss Stauch or her mother, Deborah. In the comments, multiple people were asking Deborah's account details about what occurred leading up to Gannon's disappearance. Someone using Deborah's account was answering most of the questions presented. The post appeared to be deleted but accessible through the link. Due to the odd nature of assessing the post, I took screenshots of the post and comment thread to ensure the data was collected. At this time, I completed a preservation request for the associated link. I also submitted a preservation request for Deborah's account, Miss Stauch's account, or her sister's account, the groups Find Gannon, Where is Gannon, and Gannon Search Party. And they give the Facebook case number, and they passed all this information to another detective. So this shows you exactly what they can reach out to Facebook and say, please preserve this link, preserve this account, preserve this group, make it private, but make it not go away, whatever. And that is just so interesting.
Yeah, and I was going to point out earlier when you were talking about how they had search warrants for Deborah Locklear and Amy Lowry, which, you know, is Letecia's mother and sister. It wasn't because they're associated with her. It's because she was using both of those accounts. And,
Right.
you know, and she was also using Harley's, and, you know, and then when that wasn't enough, then she started creating other Facebook accounts. You know, we had Victoria Michelle, who was allegedly a private investigator, who did a Q&A on February 25th in one of these Facebook groups, answering questions. And so I reached out to, her name is Amarita Yanez. I don't know if you've got that, you know, as part of the stuff that you're going to be reading, but I reached out to her. Well, no, she actually contacted me through a community post I had made about that Q&A session. And she sent me a bunch of screenshots of Letecia as this Victoria Michelle who was answering questions. And it's so obviously Letecia.
Oh my
I mean, first of all, what private investigator is going to go into a Facebook group to defend the person that they're working for and, you know, talk about the dynamics of the relationship between Landon, Albert, and Letecia?
Yeah, none of them. They're not going to talk at all like that. That is just crazy to me, but fascinating. I mean, when did she sleep? Think about it. She's doing
No.
this, doing that, talking to Al, talking to Landon, talking to Harley. I mean, all the things, which I did notice on that video call you had, like you told, you and Jen were telling me about with Harley. I went and watched, and I did notice that she asked about Janine, the girl who testified.
Uh-huh.
She was like, don't talk to her no more. I can't
Yeah,
tell you why.
I can't tell you why. Just don't. She called her
Wow.
Janie. She didn't even know her name. And you know the one that works with you at Massage Envy? And Harley's
Yep.
like, Janine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Don't talk to
Jody.
her. Don't talk to her no more.
That's crazy. It's like you're so obvious, Letecia. Come on,
Right.
lady. Danielle, thank you so much. I made that last year on that app, Tune Me. Bentley is upset because he wants me to get one of him, and they don't have it anymore on Tune Me. So I'm hoping they bring it back. It's an app you can download that'll turn you into a cartoon or whatever. But yeah, check out the app. Oh
Did
my
you
gosh,
see in
that
the
is
chat where Busheet actually exchanged some messenger messages with Letecia, and she says she remembers Victoria Michelle very well. Now, I
I
wasn't active in the Facebook, so I find the Facebook stuff really interesting.
You remember? Oh, wow, that is crazy. Says I reached out to her trying to find information in the beginning.
Yeah.
See, I went and looked in that Facebook group before one of those last shows we did that we talked about all that stuff because you had mentioned something about it, and I checked, and I had been a member for like since March of 2020, like 3 years. And when I went back, like through all there was so much in there. Like there's so much that I didn't even grab. I'm very interested in that too because I wasn't paying attention to all of that either. I was watching WTAF though back at that time.
Yeah. What is Humanimal? Humanimal says, just like with Watts, it's so unnerving and annoying to me that a veritable, truthful account of all events, a definitive list of actions, isn't in existence. Mode of death and timeline of events. And
Mhm.
and I get it. I totally get it, Humanimal. It's
Great.
it's tough, and for every fact, there's 5 lies floating around it, and
I
it's just like you have to
completely agree.
concentrate it and concentrate it and concentrate it, and then verify it 3 different ways from 3 different angles, and then concentrate it again. But we're definitely getting there.
Yeah, it's crazy though because that's what makes like that's just part of what makes me want to know more because we don't have definitive answers about certain things. That is just so unnerving. And Donna, you're right. Some things we will never know, and that's just the truth. And you have to come to terms with that. But it's tough. It can really be tough. Deb, if you get timed out, it does tell you. I think it tells you like if you try to chat, it'll be like you can't chat for 300 seconds.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, and then, Bushit says, "I wonder if she was taking Gannon's ADHD meds to stay awake." And, I mean, I think so. Either that or some sort of diet pill. Um, I mean, we know she was taking the, apple cider vinegar gummies, but, I mean, I could see her, going nuts on diet pills, or, his Vyvanse. I mean, they didn't say that was in his system. Did we ever
I
talk
know.
about.
She behaved like somebody on that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hey, neat noodle. Um, yeah, she definitely did. It tells you you're timed out. She was up way too much. Yeah, she definitely was. Okay, let me keep going a little bit because I want to try to get through some of these, but it's tough because I want to talk about it all too. Like
Right.
I enjoy the conversation more than like reading through it, just because one, you're so knowledgeable on this case and stuff, but two, just because I have the interest in the case, and the fascination in it. So I enjoy like spending time with you guys chatting about it. So here they talk about the missing bedding. It says Detective Sergeant Rosario Hubble advised me to meet at the Fountain landfill located at Squirrel Creek Road in Fountain, Colorado. I was advised that there was bedding missing from the home, and we were going to conduct a search in the landfill in hopes of finding the bedding or anything else of evidentiary value. I spoke with Jessica Bethel and learned there was a photograph taken of Gannon on Monday at approximately 8 a.m. on Letecia's phone. In this photograph, he's lying in bed and appears to be sleeping. The bedding pictured in the photograph has not been located. During the search waiver executed on the 28th, there was a different set of sheets in Gannon's room. I asked Detective Bethel to provide me with pictures of the bedding photographed. She sent me 3 pictures of the bedding. In the photographs, there was a matching sheet, a pillowcase. It was light blue with anchors, and a blanket with snowflakes. It is believed the pillow is also missing. So when they locate, because this was in February, when they located Gannon, we all know that all of that was in the suitcase with him, as well as the pillow, with which thank God that it was, because we got more, the 2 bullets that hit the pillow and not him. We were able to know that. But
Right.
so they searched the landfill. Which I think it's just interesting to see what they were doing. Then there's
Mhm.
evidence returned from the search warrants. Let me
They
see what.
searched dumpsters all around that area, all around the Petco area. They
Yeah,
did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they really did. This is their Lorson Boulevard canvas. So okay, so I spelled Eduardo. I don't know how to spell it, but I spelled it on purpose the way I did in my title because it was the way it was spelled in this particular part of this document.
Right.
So it says on February 1st at 8:30, I, Detective Robert Detective
Soroy.
Rob Soroy was assigned by Sergeant Hubble to canvass the construction sites near Mandan Drive for a person described as a Hispanic male, approximately 5 feet 6 inches tall, with a pockmarked face and a handlebar or Fu Manchu style mustache, named Eduardo. Oh my God. See, she had them wasting time. They had to. They had
Mhm.
to look into all the shit she was spitting out.
Yep.
There's my Bendy. I miss you, Jen. Um, but yeah, I think it's crazy. Oh, you're awesome, cutie pie. Okay, so it says I spoke with 24 construction workers in the new build area south of Lorson Boulevard, east of Mark Sheffel Road, and no one knew an Eduardo matching the description given to me. As I approached the lot labeled 6649 Lemon Drive, where the framing for a house was being done, three Hispanic male the three Hispanic males there saw me and started speaking together out of earshot from me. They began to back away and then all ran the opposite direction through the unfinished neighborhood. None of them appeared to match the description of Eduardo, but I followed them as long as I could. But they all split up, got into different vehicles, and left the area. So he gives their names, their vehicle, or their description, their vehicles. Um, that's crazy. Obviously they didn't want to deal with the cops, but at the time, I wonder if they were like, "Ooh," they obviously thought that was suspicious and wanted to at least make note of it. So it's
Right, and Letecia has no regard for all these people that she is sicking the police on. You know,
absolutely.
she just doesn't care that, these guys are just over there working on houses, and now the police are following them because, they could. I mean, she just doesn't care what she does to people.
She absolutely doesn't. That's a perfect way to say it. She has no regard for anyone else, period. Not even her own damn daughter. And that's just the facts. I want to find that picture of Gannon that she took. 1 second. Gannon Stauch sleeping. Yeah. I'll just Google that and I think it will come up. Yes. So let me share this tab. This photo. It won't let me zoom, but this is the photo that they're referencing with the snowflake blanket
Mhm.
and the anchor, the ones with the anchors. You see the pillow that he's on. Oh my God, that poor baby. I just want to save him. It's sad to see this because it's like you just want to reach in there and get him. And
Mhm.
God Almighty, this was some kind of. Oh, from WTAF. So there's the candle wax. That picture was released, I think, in the affidavit that was dropped, right?
This that picture,
Or did she send it?
yeah, I don't think that was actually in the affidavit, but I
No,
think
because they were black and white photos anyway, weren't
right,
they? Yeah.
right.
Hmm. So she must have sent it to someone, but yeah, it's just tough to see that. Okay, so let me go back to this and see what else. I want to show you guys. That's all the comments I wanted to read, though. Jody says, "Your voice is so pleasant. And I'm not going to lie. I have a few I like watching, but some can be so rude. You're just an angel when you do these lives. No interruptions, just a joy to listen to." Thank you, Jody.
That's sweet.
Very sweet.
Jen, I need to know where Dr. T came up with the name Eduardo. Yeah.
Me too. Humanimal. I know that Jennifer, Alex, etc. have honed things down at amazing research, but neither groups of law enforcement in the cases were able to make head or tail, and they seem satisfied to not know. Thank you, Humanimal. God, it's just, to me, that's the worst part, not knowing. And
Yeah, I agree. And Kevin Clark kind of explained it a little bit in that, basically when she changed her plea to not guilty, by reason of insanity. I mean, yes, they still had to prove the case that she had done it, but that changed their strategy, from the prosecution's point of view. I mean, they and I'm sure that has a little to do with it. Um, I still want to see that timeline that Kevin Clark talked about that, wrapped around the entire room. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that
yeah,
was an excellent timeline. It was so well done. I would love to have that file on my computer just to go through everything, because you have every different person, you know what I mean? That's what they were doing, each person, what time, I don't know. I just like that you had all their movements. I
yeah.
appreciate that. Let's see. It is very, maybe that is like why I'm drawn to this one and the Watts, because, well, I know there's other reasons as well, but I think that adds to it, like just not knowing the truth. And also, I don't know, with the Watts, I'm just not sure they did the greatest job investigating that one, but that's just kind of
Yeah,
my perspective. Let
yeah.
me see if there's anything else I grabbed that we want to talk about. Um, so, what do you have dropping tonight again?
So I'm going through, and you guys will see if you go get this document and take a look at it. I mean, it's 1,050 pages, and some of the pages are just a simple, a detective making a note that doesn't really have like a narrative or anything. But I'm going to go through, and with any time that there's a narrative, or a supplemental narrative or a summary, I'm going to read through it. And so really, um, I mean, yeah, there will be things of substance that I'm reading, but it's for the bedtime true crime stuff. So really, the purpose of me reading through the narratives in this document is the bedtime true crime. So it really, it's just me reading. It's me reading police reports. And the
Reading
goal is to put you to sleep, so there's not a lot of pressure on me at that point, is there?
It's perfect.
I don't
Perfect.
even have to keep anybody interested. Actually, if they fall asleep, then I've done my job.
Okay, so this is the interesting. I gotta know what you think. Do you think this is just a mistake because of the routine cleaning? Okay, so this is a tip that came in from David McGee that I referenced a little bit ago, and he says Letecia came by his house on January 26th, showed him a picture looking for Gannon between 20:30, so that would be 8:30 and 9. David was sure it was Letecia. He also confirmed it was her from a picture I showed him of her. Lee said he also remembered it was Sunday night for sure because he has a routine for cleaning on Sundays and he was cleaning that day, but his Ring doorbell was dead. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know.
That
Let
is
me see that
interesting.
again. It's
Here, let me go back to it. I'll zoom in right here. So, yeah, I don't know. That has me a little puzzled.
hmm.
I think Aunt Brenda is lobbying to get Letitia's life rights to sell her story. Oh, I've missed you too, boo boo. But are there more
Hmm.
calls with her, or did they drop off like the rest? But are there more with who? Brenda? I don't know what you're asking. I get confused myself there. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm very interested in that. Why would she do that? She wasn't even the one out looking for him, really, was she?
No, but that said Sunday. So it would have been something that she was out doing on Sunday.
Right, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, but on the if it was a mistake, and they meant Monday, Letecia really wasn't the one that was out looking for him, anyways.
No.
So she did like a trial run of this or something on Sunday. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know. Yeah.
What in the world? Music City Mom, the August calls, I believe they are on, because it was July and August, that last ones that were released, I think, right?
Yes. Yeah. On phone calls from prison. Yeah. July
Yeah.
and August.
Okay. Sidney Powell. I don't. Okay, so I've seen it, but I don't know much. Not enough to discuss it really, but I want to look at it more. I keep getting recommended stuff about it. Okay, hold on one sec. Let me just do something really quickly. Okay, we're gonna look at this, but I just have to grab something from my Facebook. Okay, so this is follow up. It says follow up on Saturday, February 1st. This is from Bradley Whitehead. At 9 a.m., he and so this is the one that where that he was with the Robert Saroy. How do you say that one again?
It's Soroy.
Saroy, looking for Eduardo. He says he. I think it's funny. The Fu Manchu mustache. The description was a little better, but it says, "I contacted several workers in the area, ranging from painters, concrete workers, carpenters, drywall installers, and roofers. Of all the workers I contacted, no one knew anyone by the name of Eduardo with the above description. I also did not locate anyone who fit that description." At about 1:15, Soroy and I responded to the area of Highway 105 and No Road to meet with search and rescue. Information gathered from a tracker placed on one of Letecia's vehicles indicated she was lingering in the area the night before. Detective Soroy and I split up with search and rescue, with each team having a search dog. The entire length of No Road was searched on foot with the dogs, but efforts were met with negative results. I located a game camera facing No Road at the entrance to 1000 No Road and a sign that had a phone number to contact in case of emergency. I passed that information to detectives. Permission was given by the owner to retrieve the SD card. The camera was off and there was not an SD card within. So that is interesting. At about 4 p.m., the members with Necro Search arrived with a drone. They conducted an aerial search with the drone, but nothing of interest was located. I have nothing further at this time.
So this is going to sound a little weird. You know that I've driven the route from the Mandan Drive address up to Palmer Lake and the S curve where the board was found and all of that. And when the affidavit first came out, that's when I went to everything listed there. I went to the Petco and I did all this stuff, just trying to, get a feel for things,
Yeah.
And okay, so as you're going north and you're going, you go through the S curve where the particle board was found, and if you keep going about a mile, there was a spot where, well, actually half a mile, there was a spot where she turned around, and the name is escaping me right now. I think it's called like Hawk Ridge something or other. And when she was in the Altima, they tracked her. They had the GPS tracker physically on the vehicle. They tracked her going up to the S curve. She went past the place where the particle board was, and then she went up to it was called the Reserve at Hawk Ridge, which is just like this gated place that might have a house or two on it. But you can pull in and turn around where the gate is, and I think that's what she did. So she pulls into the preserve at Hawk Ridge, and then she goes back to the S curve. But when she was in the Tiguan, I think, is when they have her tracked all the way to No Road. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. NOE. Yeah.
Yeah, No Road. But anyway, when I first went up there, and this is the first time that we're hearing anything about No Road. It's always been the S curve and all of that. But I remember when I went up there, and it was 3 years ago. If you keep going past the preserve at Hawk Ridge, the next big street, which it's not a street, it's it's a road. You're out in the country. But if you take a right on No Road, there's like a tree line. I don't know, quarter mile away. But I remember I pulled over there and I was just I parked there and I was, like, overcome with emotion, and I remember, like, forcing myself to remember the name of this road, and it was No Road, and, I didn't see anything, I didn't find anything, I wasn't on I wasn't searching, I was just going, I had gotten there by accident looking at, the S curve, but
Right.
I remember pulling over right there and I just I was overwhelmed with emotion, and I'm just sitting on the side of the road, and I'm, like, crying, and I had a cigarette, and I got over it, and I went on about my business, but I remember the first time that I saw No Road in this document, and I was like, "Wait, what? That's the road where I just lost it and didn't understand why." I'm not saying, that that actually means anything. I'm just, we're friends, I can tell you the weird shit that happens to me.
That is so interesting though. Like I wish I was with you on that ride. I would love to have. I bet that was very surreal, but I also seeing it in the documents now looking back, I'm glad you remembered that. But yeah, I love to hear that stuff. Share any of that stuff with us because we can't be there. You know what I mean? We can't see it for ourselves. So I really love
Yeah,
that you can and let us know about it. So too bad there wasn't a freaking SD card in the game cam.
right.
I wonder what it like. What do you think? What is your theory of what she did after everything at the house? And we obviously know that he was in the tote in the, um, in the that storage room. But what? How do you think? Like, we know that the board ended up out there near the S curve and all that, and we know that was. Am I dreaming the sock or something? Because I feel like something about a sock, but I might be wrong and thinking of something else. But yeah, what is your theory on what she did?
Well, so with the sock is one of the things that was told to Letecia in one of the pretext phone calls that they had found a board and a sock. Now, the sock is nowhere in the affidavit, and the sock is nowhere in this 1,000-page document. The only time a sock comes up, well, there's two times that a sock comes up. Once is during trial when Macon Ponder talks about finding Gannon's body under the bridge, and once it came out of the suitcase, the first thing that he noticed was Gannon's little sock with footballs on it.
Yes, that's right. I remember him
Um,
saying that.
and then the only other time that a sock comes up is the candle that was in the trash can outside that they recovered on January 28th.
Yes,
There was a sock in that candle. Other
in
than
the
that,
candle.
yeah, in the candle.
I
Other
remember
than
that.
that, um, and that's one of those things that Letecia was defending online early on before she was arrested. Like somebody says they found a sock, and I think that was something that Albert told her in the pretext phone calls, and it may or may not have been true. Um, it might have just been something that they used to get her to admit to something or say something else. But as far as it being in any of the reports, there's nothing about a sock except for,
Okay.
Macon Ponder and the sock that was found in the candle.
Okay. Yeah, because I feel like I was trying to place a sock out in near the board or something like that. Um, but regardless of all of that, what do you think that she did? Because we don't know everything. We have the theory, like what they believe most like, and they had a tracker on her, so they know where, and they found that. But just from your perspective, what do you think that she did after the final? She finished committing this crime, called police, they left, then what is your opinion of what she did out there and at the S curve and all of that?
Uh, I'd honestly rather not get into it right now because I'm not 100% sure. Um,
That's okay.
but
Yeah.
also, walking through that is a big part of the book, and I can't give it all away.
Okay. That's true. I
Um,
didn't think about that.
but I will say that I was one of those people who really thought he was killed out there. I really did.
I really believe
I
that
I
too.
did not believe that he came home. And then another thing that I found very interesting in this document, and I don't have a page number, but it is up here. And in fact, I'm just going to search the words woodpile. So remember how Letecia left? Okay, so it's on page 5:20. If
Okay, I've got it right here. Let me see.
So this is from Christina Perry, and on Wednesday, February 12th.
Right
So
here.
February 12th. Okay. Yeah. So Perry says, I was advised that analysts with the FBI were reviewing information stored on Letecia's cell phone. Ms. Stauch had an app on her phone called Life 360. This is an application that is used for family members to share their locations with each other. It appeared Miss Stauch turned off her phone, went to a field near her house, and returned home. When she returned home and turned the cell phone back on, the application collected data from the location she went to. This field is west of the intersection of Mark Scheffel and Lorson Boulevard. I learned that this location was searched early on in the investigation by search and rescue. However, there is a large wood pile located in the area that appeared to be undisturbed. I responded to the woodpile with several other detectives, investigators, and the FBI. When I arrived on scene, I observed the woodpile. The pile appeared to be a large tree that had been uprooted and fallen over. There were multiple branches and pieces of the tree in the pile. The stack of wood appeared to be approximately 10 feet in diameter and up to 4 feet tall. The area in and around the woodpile was searched, but nothing of note was found. The immediate area was searched, and I observed a manhole cover with a smaller water access next to it. I lifted the water access and was able to see the bottom of the access and did not observe anything inside of it. I attempted to lift the manhole cover, but was unable to do so. And the reason I bring that up is, okay, so when they're talking about the morning, early morning of the 28th of January 28th, Letecia leaves the house in the Tiguan. She doesn't tell anybody that she's leaving. In fact, Harley wakes up and she's like, "Are you here?" And she had just left Harley alone with Lena, but she probably thought they were all going to stay asleep by the time she got back. She
Right.
goes to the area of this woodpile, and they did bring this up in court. They did say that that morning she drove to Bradley Road, which is right there in that area, and then came back and then backed her vehicle in the garage, and that's when she came out to the end of the garage and looked around and then went back inside. And then she went and picked Albert up from the airport. And so I'm really wondering if that wasn't her. I still have a very hard time believing that Letecia, with everything that I've learned about her and her behaviors, because even her crazy is predictable at a
Yeah.
certain point, there's still patterns.
I
Um,
found the candle photo. Okay. I've been
um,
listening to you and looking. Keep going.
yeah. Um, I still have a very difficult time believing that Letecia would call the police with Gannon in the house. And I know that the district attorney's office and the investigators, they all say that when the police were there in the home, that Gannon was in the storage room, in the corner underneath the boxes. And I do see where that makes sense. It's just, I don't know. I really still wonder if she had him stashed somewhere else. So her excuse, I mean, she's always got an excuse for everything, and it's usually a lie. But her
Yeah.
excuse for leaving the house that morning on the 28th before she went to the airport, when she just drove up the road and then came back, she was gone 15 minutes. Her excuse was that the night before, when the deputy was looking in the rear hatch of the Tiguan, that they didn't close the hatch all the way, and she was afraid that her battery would die. And so she just got in the car at 6 o'clock in the morning and drove to the area of this woodpile and then drove back home and backed the vehicle into the house
For what reason? Right.
because she was afraid that the battery was dead because the detective allegedly didn't close the hatch all the way, which he did. I mean, I've seen the body cam over and over. I saw it that day in court.
Right.
Um, That doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't make
If
sense
they're
at
just
all.
not, this incredibly tall wood pile, down tree, whatever it was, and I know that area well, and there's nothing around there, I mean, it would be a very good place to stash him temporarily if that's what you were out for. I mean, one thing we know for sure, the bullshit about I'm sorry, the stuff about the battery is a lie. But
Yeah.
why did she go there? And I just
I'm picking up what you're throwing down. It doesn't make sense. There's something else. It's either or she's stashing something. There's something
Right.
going on.
Yeah. And we never did, figure out, about the wood pile or whatever, and that's the only time that they track her going to that location. So to only go there one time and they didn't find anything there, maybe I'm just, I'm looking too far into it. And that happens to me constantly in this case. I'll catch myself and I'll realize I've gone 3 days deep on a 2-minute project, and my friends pull me back out of the rabbit hole and we dust me off and I get back to work.
Hey, with Letecia though, is there any looking too deep? Because you never know with her. So I want to, but and also I got before I lose my train of thought, I want to show you
Mhm.
the candle to those people. But I wanted to ask you, this is part, look, you can see the amount of blood. I still, this is like part of what bothers me about not knowing. This must have occurred before the photo was taken of him in the bed, right? Because we know that the candle incident was obviously to cover up whatever took place that she didn't want dad.
Mhm.
So that's a lot. It bothers me. I want to know what caused this, because the way that the coroner, the medical examiner, believes that things happened, it doesn't really make sense, because we saw him walking the next day. I don't know. I've always had trouble believing that he was hit in the head first, and then the stab wounds were after, and trigger warning, only because what caused the blood the night before? You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. Also, let me see. And there's a close up of it. Oh my gosh, you guys, I've got so much stuff saved on here. I mean, you can see she's such an idiot. Look at this. Oh my God. But yeah, we could go through even just the pictures and stuff from what happened, but the candle is coming. Just let me scroll through a second. That was when we found out that Harley didn't know, the way her father passed away for all those years. Then her flipping off. Okay, so we're getting to the candle because what was in the dumpster. But remember her flipping everybody off in court and just her ridiculous antics. I don't know. She's so disrespectful. It just adds another layer of the anger and hate in
Mhm.
myself, for all of this. So where is this picture? Curious, Jen?
That's at the S curve.
Okay, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. And then here is, oh God, not the judge taking a page from Letecia's book. Hold on. The candle is a coming because I just saw it. There was a few I wanted to look at before. Unless I went the wrong direction. I might have. I can't believe I just had it and now I got to go get it again. Sorry. But there's just so much with this, and I saved so many photos and so many things. And the trial we got a lot in the trial, but there's so much we didn't get.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a ton. In fact, let me grab my list here.
And the
One,
next thing on that page
one,
you turned me to is the Letecia support group. So I wanted to look at that for a moment. Oh my God, her hands, they were, you could tell that she had done something. Okay, that candle photo is right here somewhere. Here it is. You can barely see it, but there was a sock in it.
Mhm.
Let's see. That's the burnt carpet they pulled from the trash.
Did you see the part where the guy at the gas station, he forced the sheriff's department to get a warrant in order to look at his camera footage.
I don't think I read that, but I also don't think I absorb everything when I read it the first time.
Another thing was that the guns were actually recovered from the neighbor's house, Nicole Marks. Remember, Ian and Nicole Marks were on the witness list?
Yes.
And that's one of those things that was just kind of left out of trial.
Different from Nicole Mobley?
Yeah, Nicole Mobley is entirely different. Yeah. Or, we never heard a single word about Harley's boyfriend. Not that Harley's boyfriend that everybody is aware of now, but the boyfriend that she had at the time. He was interviewed and his parents were interviewed.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I think that would be a good video to do as well. I want to show you guys.
Thank you.
Look, that.
Thank you.
I love that one. And then I grabbed a few because Landon, she took a lot of pictures and videos of these kids. She was recording their video chats all the time, and him blowing little kisses and stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the Stauch support group. Upon returning to the office, I observed a new Facebook group called Stauch Support Group. I requested to join the group using a Facebook account used solely for investigative purposes. My request was accepted, and I began reviewing the page. One person posted that blank was unable to attend her drill weekend because of the situation. The person said that blank only receives $200 when she attends a drill and was most likely struggling for money. The person suggested donating to PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. I know Detective Marissa Williams was monitoring all of Miss Stauch's and I guess Al's financial
No, it's Harley.
Oh, and Harley's financial transactions. I saved each of the pictures for the accounts and notified Detective Williams. And then she put all the Facebook screenshots onto a CD. We should try to get this. That's what that 309, all those Facebook, because they've been taken down, as far as on Facebook. But I would love to see them.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely on the list.
309. Yeah, let's make sure. Help me remember that or write it down. Or is it already?
Yeah, okay. I got it on the list.
Lacey Tree, she did have a lot, but she's been moved now from where she was in the phone calls that we've heard. She's in a different one.
Did you already go over the contents of her purse?
No, I didn't.
Page 73 is the contents of her purse. And the reason why I found that interesting is because remember during that interview with Bethel on Wednesday the 29th, she pulls something out of her purse and puts it in her mouth right before she decides that she's going to take a nap on the couch, before the panic attack.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to know, like, what is she taking? Is that gum? Is it a lozenge? Is it a pill? What is it? But this is exactly the stuff that was in her purse. One ink pen, one pair of sunglasses, one sunglass sack, one pair of earbuds. And then can you scroll down a little bit?
Yep. Hold on. I was trying to. There we go.
One set of tweezers, 2 throat lozenges, 2 personal wipes, 1 meclizine packet, 1 money receipt dated 1/23/2020, gum wrappers, 2 business cards, 1 black wallet, 1 South Carolina ID, 1 military dependent ID, 1 Capital One Visa card. So the meclizine packet, that is for like seasickness.
Oh, okay.
And it does say 2 throat lozenges. Now, I don't know if those are in like a pack, but remember she pops something out of like a packet, I don't know.
I'd have to go back and watch that. I do remember when she lays down and before her panic attack and everything, but I wonder if it was the throat lozenge. Did it seem like it was like popped out of a foil thing?
It seemed like it was popped out of a foil thing.
And also, I would like to watch that like in a better quality now instead of what we saw from trial. Because I'm pretty sure I know that it's out there, but I haven't watched everything over there. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And a whopping 93 cents.
Yeah. 93 cents. The Swisher Sweets. I'm surprised we didn't find any of those in our purse.
Right. So on page 136, they talk about finding how Albert found the empty Swisher Sweets package in the kitchen drawer. And I can't remember the date that he found it, but it was after they had done, several searches.
Okay, let's see. Ooh, this is actually where Eduardo is mentioned as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. During our canvass, we spoke with a number of workers. Most of them did not speak English. Later in the afternoon, we returned to 6627 Mandan Drive and briefly spoke with the family of Gannon. During this contact, Albert told us about finding a cigar packaging which matched the cigar that his wife Letecia said she found in Gannon's bag. This cigar packaging was located in a kitchen drawer next to the refrigerator. The package did not contain any cigars. Albert opened the drawer and showed the package to me. He told Detective Berklich and I verbally we could photograph and remove the package. I took photographs with my work-issued cell phone, and the photos were later placed into evidence under 637. The package was collected and later placed into evidence under item 38. On this date, I was assigned as the liaison between EPSO and the Stauch family. This was implemented so the family had one individual to contact rather than having multiple law enforcement officials communicating with them. So, and that's Mark Riley. Wow. Well, there we go. An empty package. Wonder where she got the cigar that she planted on Gannon.
Right. Yeah, because, I'm sure that Gannon, first of all, got a hold of the Swisher Sweets and then emptied them, put them in his backpack, and then hid the packaging, in the drawer next to the refrigerator. Right.
Oh my God. Dalen says insure found in her bag. Queen Olive says, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you so much for being a member for 3 months. Let me ask you, because then I'll let you go. We've been here for a while. There's a lot more to talk about. We always can talk longer. And there's 1,000 pages of this. There's so much. You guys can view it yourself. I'm going to link her website again. But Jordan made a comment a minute ago that I found particularly interesting. She said she believes that she was planning to burn him alive or something like that night with the fire. Now that is interesting because we know that her claims of like jumping on him, I don't remember exactly where that came out, like with the blanket and the way that I think she described like trying to put the fire out at one point, and it was really odd the way she described it, like as if she was jumping on him with the blanket, just thumping on him, to put it out. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that the fire was set by her on purpose, with the intention of having, now whether or not she meant to kill him at first, I don't know. I'm really not sure about that. She definitely set the fire. Okay, in my opinion, definitely set the fire, and tried to set it up so that even Gannon thought that it was his fault. And that's why I think that he might have been drugged before that. Because if she puts the candle on the ground and sets the covers on fire, then sorry.
I love it when you do that, Southern.
if she she does that and he's drugged, he's not going to just immediately put it out. But I think that he was able to put it out, and he didn't get terribly hurt like she had planned. And that just wasn't enough to get Albert to come running home. But I think that was actually planned. But I don't think, me personally, I don't think that she intended to kill him. She intended to make a big scene that would make it so that Albert would be forced to come back home. And I think that she didn't care if he got hurt as long as Albert came home.
That makes so much sense to me. I think that's probably most likely. She at first just wanted Albert home. And she even says that like the kids were trying to get like something. There's a moment when she says, I think we heard it during the trial, like doing something sneaky or manipulative with the kids to try to get Albert home, or like blames them for doing something like that to get him home. It's like a tell. She kind of tells on herself.
Right. I did have a couple of other points that I mean, just really quick, if that's
Yeah, of
okay.
course. I would love to. And also Ashley's comment, she said Grusing said he used that as a strategy. So is that something that came out in the beginning that I'm remembering about finding a sock with blood on it or something? Or is that from
It's one of those things that she started defending online before she was even arrested and long before the affidavit came out.
Okay. So it was like a rumor thing back then.
Yeah, I think that it's something that Albert did with the FBI during those pretext calls. And she, she immediately took to Facebook and started defending herself for something that she hadn't been publicly accused of yet.
Jordan says, I'm curious though about another fire. Alex, can you explain? I don't know what you mean. I saw that, Erica, maybe you can let us know what you're talking about. She definitely tells on herself. All right, let me know what pages or whatever, and I'll pull them up.
The other fire might be a reference to a fire that happened when she was younger, when her stepfather was alive, which allegedly, caused part of her PTSD.
Her trigger, like to
Yeah.
switch.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so page 611, it shows between January 29th, which is the Wednesday, and February 15th. So basically a 2-week period. Letecia and Harley received $4,790.
What?
Yeah. So this is, going through the financial stuff. So payments were received from Letecia Stauch, Amy Lowry, Tila Oxendine, which is also Tila Cummings, Christina Lowry, spelled wrong, Chastity Areola, Nola Cummings, and Sarah Ellett. And then they made 3 withdrawals in that basically that same period, totaling $4,450.
They pulled it all out.
Yeah, they pulled it all out. But I just, I found it interesting from Wednesday the 29th, and by Thursday, I think that they were out of town. They left by Saturday the 1st. But just in that time, and not only had she taken money out of their account, Albert and Letecia's, but so for the road trip from Colorado to South Carolina, and even 2 weeks, into being in South Carolina,
they got $5,000 from people, and also another 30 from Courtney Martinez on Facebook. I mean, right. I can't get over it. On February 13th, by that point, she had done showed her whole entire ass on Facebook, on the news everywhere.
Right. And this is during the time of those pretext phone calls as well. So, and then, just where they different things where they're spending money. Okay. Let's see. I can skip over some of these. So, on page 659, she's texting Bethel again and telling Bethel basically that if Bethel can give Letecia her passport back, then she can help find Gannon. Yeah. So, and this is on February 26th that Letecia sends this message. So this is 2 days before the arrest affidavit is filed. And this is after Leticia's had all these pretext phone calls with Albert. It's the Wednesday before the Monday that she gets arrested. So this is less than a week before her arrest.
So was she arrested on the 2nd or the 1st?
She was arrested on the 2nd, which was
That's
a Monday.
What I thought. Okay. Yeah. And it was the arrest affidavit was filled out on the Sunday prior to that. Is that what you mean? Yes. Or on the 20th? Okay. So, oh my gosh, I had not seen this. Oh my gosh. See, I don't know. She makes me angry when I'll read it. Or how about this? I'll read. Do you want to read Miss Stauch or Bethel?
Oh, I'll take Letecia.
Okay.
Are you still working Gannon's case?
Who is this?
I want to help. I did not do anything wrong and don't want to be treated like a criminal anymore because no negligence has happened on my part. I also need my passport/bag to help. I know passport sounds crazy, but trust me, I could get another one, but why spend money when I have one in my bag that El Paso has? Think on it and let me know.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine? And like I said, this is 2 days before Bethel's finished with the affidavit of probable cause.
Oh my God Almighty. I wonder what she was thinking. Like, oh, and wait, I also need my passport/bag to help. You have to
Yeah.
throw that in there, you manipulative monster.
Right. I want to help, but I need my passport. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Oh,
okay. Right. And remember, this is when she's Googling full face transplant, fake marriage certificate.
full face transplant.
Find
I'm
somebody,
sorry.
find an immigrant who's willing to go to jail for me, And so, with all of these text messages, trying to learn about, what cartels are in Colorado. Oh God. So then out of nowhere, she texts Bethel under a new number. I want to help. I didn't do anything wrong and don't want to be treated. I should have said that. Don't want to be treated like a criminal anymore. No negligence has happened on my part.
Oh my
She needs her
God.
passport in her bag. And as soon as she gets her passport in her bag, then she can help with the investigation. Okay. So then real quick,
I'm running inside because my computer's gonna die, but I got plugged in right now. There we go. Okay. Okay.
trip and fall. Okay. So damn it, I don't have the exact page number written here, but it's between 659 and 748. That's only 100 pages. But that's okay. Let me actually, I bet now that Jen filled me in on that super secret method of, control F.
Yeah, and this on mine, see the little magnifying glass up at the top? You can search with that too.
Yeah, I don't have that on my version for some reason.
Oh, okay. Go in Rogue. It says, thank you for doing this. I just recently found Crime Curious. She's absolutely hands down amazing with this case. She definitely is. And you can support her. The mods are dropping her link, and also our other friend, Jen, who's done a lot of this case with us, and her website. She's placed all of these documents on her website on the link I just dropped, like a couple up from your comment, Going Rogue. So please, you guys, you can go through and look at all of this stuff yourself if you want. And support her over there because she works hard on it. So yeah.
Okay, I found it. So it's page 731.
Okay.
After completing the interview with Dee Dee Moss, Special Agent Cohen and I responded to the Myrtle Beach Police Department Annex, where Ms. Stauch was being interviewed. The interview was conducted by Jonathan Grusing from the FBI. After the interview with Ms. Stauch was completed, I learned she was taken to the hospital for a reported miscarriage. It was reported by detectives that Ms. Stauch did not have a miscarriage and had attempted to claim she was infected with the coronavirus.
Oh my God.
Neither of these were found to be true, go figure, and she was cleared medically and housed at the Myrtle Beach Police Department until March 3rd, 2020, when she was transported to the J. Reuben Long Detention Facility. The passenger van Ms. Stauch was driving at the time of her arrest was processed by the FBI, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, yada, yada. Apparently she didn't understand that when she went to the hospital claiming to have had a miscarriage, I guess while she was talking to Grusing, I guess she didn't think that doctors could tell that she was actually never pregnant. Like if she says, well, no, I lost the baby. Honey, your hormones are still going to be different. You're good. Like
Yes. There will be signs of it. You will, that HCG hormone, it's going to pop up in your system for a little bit. I think that you're right. Even though I don't think she's stupid, she has a level of intelligence, but she uses it all for the wrong reasons. She exhausts all of her intelligence twisting and turning and manipulating, where I don't know if she just doesn't know or she doesn't think. But another, like the miscarriages, we heard Landon in that interview we talked about recently talk about her lying about miscarriages and pregnancies and stuff. It's just, oh God.
Right. So the first time she told this particular pregnancy lie, sometimes it was twins and other times it was just a pregnancy, which, you know, how she would even know it was twins. Anyway. So the first time she told that lie was January 25th, and then she faked the miscarriage on March 2nd.
Oh, right, because she told it to Gannon, right?
She told it to Gannon and Albert. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, and then also D-Mart says she has told previous boyfriends she was pregnant with them too and lost the baby. And Humanimal has a question I think that you can answer or provide some sort of insight to, because Jen has all the insurance stuff on her website as well. Under that same Stauch link I keep dropping, you can find all that. But do you know when that was taken out? Do you remember off the top of your head?
It was 2017. So the policy was created in 2017. But the date that Harley took Albert off of it and made it 100% to Harley was March 3rd, the day after Letecia was arrested.
Oh.
And I have all of that on the website. I have the entire insurance policy. I have the letter that was written to her about the policy being changed. It's all there.
Hey, Mel, she says, I meant to say hi to you a minute ago. Maybe she was taking HCG, and that's how she was so skinny, and figured she'd test positive for a pregnancy test or use the HCG to fake a home pregnancy test to create proof. I wouldn't put it past her, anything like that. She works very hard on her stories and all of her stuff. It is so dark, Humanimal. The day after. Ugh.
Okay, and then just one more little thing on page 846.
Oh, we can do this all day. I'd so be down to do another one as well, and with Bendy too. 846.
For sure.
Okay.
So on April 29th, 2019, Letecia reported the purchase of Denver Nuggets tickets on her account were fraudulent and claimed to be in South Carolina, but admitted to making purchases in Colorado Springs during the same time frame the tickets were purchased. So they moved to Colorado from South Carolina in the beginning of 2019, right? Because they had been there a year when Gannon was killed.
Right.
So basically, and this is I think if you go up a page, I can't remember what. Oh, Capital One. So it's her Capital One credit card, and this just goes through, you know, some of the charges and all of that. And she had a credit limit of $10,500, and the balance on the account was $77.38. And what she would do, you know, this is along the same lines of, you know, sending Harley into the Candlewood Suites with the dogs and having her wait by the elevator, and then her coming in and getting the room with the Ford Motor Company corporate discount, and then claiming that she's a single woman traveling alone with no pets. You know, it's along the same lines. So on several occasions, you know, she would dispute charges, and she would say, you know, that they were made fraudulently or whatever, so that she could get the money back. And she did it when she went to Orlando in December of 2019. She paid for the hotel while she was in Orlando, and as soon as she got back, she called and disputed the hotel charge.
Oh my God.
And so the same thing with these Denver Nuggets tickets. And for anybody who doesn't know, the Denver Nuggets is the professional basketball team in Colorado. And so she went to this Denver Nuggets game, you know, with how many ever, you know, who knows who, it might have been everybody, who knows, but at least 2 tickets for the Denver Nuggets game. And then as soon as she enjoyed the game, she called Capital One and said, I don't even live in Colorado. I'm in South Carolina, because the address that Capital One had was a South Carolina address. She hadn't changed it yet. So she's like, well, I didn't make these charges in Colorado. I live in South Carolina. But then the customer service person was like, well, wait a minute. There's all these other charges in Colorado for the last few months. Oh, well, yeah, I made those charges. But I didn't buy those Denver Nuggets tickets. It's just yet another,
every aspect of her life.
Right.
It's crazy. Now Letecia, I have tried to verify that. There is a list published of the 2019 doctorate graduates from Liberty. For the few years, like for every year actually, but we searched several years and couldn't find it. I had a friend who went there who was going to talk to some people. I never heard back from her about that. I think that she was working on it. In my opinion, it was not completed, but I don't know.
She did everything but the defense of her dissertation.
So she didn't actually acquire the doctorate.
And there's a technicality where she explains that she filed it in a live text file under the last name Hardin on the Liberty University website, and she claims that that's so technically it's been filed, so technically the ABD designation should be removed, but that's not how it works. In Letecia's mind, maybe that's how it works. But she didn't defend her dissertation. So,
yeah. Oh my God, she's a mess. Well, yeah, would you be interested? Maybe I'll keep reading through this. You guys go enjoy, please go read through these case files on Jen's website. And maybe I'll see if there's any other little things I want to grab and talk about, and we'll do a part 2 when Jen's available.
Yeah. Let's get Bendy up here. There's so much. I mean, we can look at the psychic tips.
Oh my God. Actually, there was a couple other on the things I had grabbed for us today. There were a few of those little things hold on, let me see if I could just see it very quickly. There of tips that came in anonymous and things like that I thought were really interesting. Yeah.
Well, there's something about a psychic tip on page 778. And then there's something from Albert's pastor, Paul, who was forwarding an email from someone who called herself a prophetess on page 217.
Oh, okay. So here we have, this is regarding a letter that they got anonymously, an anonymous psychic tip. It says, this is regarding the disappearance of Gannon. Whenever I have asked God to bring justice in the matter, I see a ravine where either the crime occurred or where his body lies. The top part of the terrain is flat with scrub brush on the flat terrain and in the ravine. Not a lot of grass, but sparse amount of grass with small rocks. It's like this place is on the Front Range. This is sent anonymously because I do not want any attention to this. Wow.
Yeah. And then page 217 is the letter from Albert's pastor.
Urgent message from the Lord. Okay, that identifies himself as Jamie Davis and indicates, I am a prophetic intercessor as well as a prophetess. The email gives specific instructions to include not calling police and to follow steps as directed to find Gannon. Throughout the email, it directs Mr. Aragon to call in order to begin the process of finding Gannon. What?
And it says a copy of the email is included. Of course, it's not, included, for us. If there was an item number, I could get it, but I'm not sure that I could get it without, further information.
That's the one that I actually grabbed to show is the same one. The urgent message from Jamie Davis. I grabbed that one. Yeah. But I would love to look at some other things with you guys. I also grabbed them because they were looking at a dirt mound consistent with a clandestine grave and, more neighborhood canvas stuff. I just think there's so much more that we can go through and talk about. So I'll grab what I can and you grab and we'll meet again. Yeah. And then tonight you have a video dropping. You guys, please go check it out.
Guaranteed to put you to sleep. So now you can
Yes.
fall asleep
Yeah,
listening to police reports.
I actually really love going to sleep listening to true crime and listening to stuff like that. I think it's a great idea. I listen to YouTube to fall asleep. I can't have silence. It freaks me out. But just before we go, this is what I was talking about where, okay, so February 2nd, the John Price went to the evidence facility and took the air filters from the Tiguan, swabs of the undercarriage and vegetation and debris from the undercarriage. And this is what I was telling you guys. They went and took this so they could try to see, what kind of dirt, what kind of plants were in the area, so they could try to locate where maybe she had gone and put Gannon. So it is so interesting to see like the full investigation completely unfold.
Right.
But anyways, hello, crazy mama. I love Forensic Files, Jaded. Well, thank you for coming and sharing your beautiful big brain with all of us, because I just love discussing this with you guys and with you and Jen especially. And yeah, I'll be there tonight. Is it going to be a premiere?
No. I thought about doing it as a premiere because I do need to do more stuff on the channel. But if the purpose of it is, getting people to fall asleep, then it's
live chat. Yeah.
Right. The live chat is the opposite of that. So no, I'm probably just going to upload it.
You could always, people could chat through the live chat, but they can always replay it, later. But I don't know. I think that you make a very good point. That's a fair point.
Right.
All right. Well, I love and appreciate you so much. I'm so glad you came, and chat and mods. I love and appreciate you guys. Thank you for everything, for being here. Yeah, and everything. All right. Yes, I do. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go. I'll talk to you guys soon, and I hope you have a great night. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everybody.
Bye guys.